Good afternoon. Week. I know I've had a good week so far, and I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Everyone is trying to stay safe out there, and for those of us in the United States, I know that we're seeing some uptick in the numbers on COVID, so I hope all of us are making sure that we stay connected to all the guidelines for safety, and looking forward to hanging out with you all this afternoon and helping you answer as many questions as you may have. And also, I will have some questions that I may be able to ask you, and we'll get a chance to answer those questions together. So I'm looking forward to this time, and I'm going to wait for a few minutes. Sorry, we're a bit late. There were some technical issues. And so waiting for some of us to just join the session, and then we'll be able to get started with our session today. So what I've done today is a lot of what I try to, if I don't get any questions from students, a lot of what I try to bring into this session on Sundays is questions from some of our private sessions that we see students are struggling, and we use that to get a sense of what's happening in the different schools across the country. And we use that so we can come up with good questions that are related to those topics that we see students are having a lot of struggle with. And then on Sunday, we'll try to give you guys something to work with before you start your school week. So if you have any questions from your homework or assignments, or you're preparing for tests and you really like us to help answer some of your questions, please let us know. Drop some comments in the chat, and we'll be able to respond to them that way as well. So thank you for spending the time. We're going to go till about 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. For those on the East Coast, that will be about 6 p.m. your time. But I want this to be your time, so I want you to tell me if there are topics or questions that you really need help with, and I'll be happy to bring some of those into focus as we walk through this today. So let's give everyone a few more moments to join, and then we can kick it off. All right, so we can get started with our first question. So decimals, especially decimal division, is one that tends to trip students up quite a bit. So what I'm going to do today is go through, show you all the simplest ways to really approach decimal division. Once you understand this technique, you can apply it to any kind of decimal division that you have, whether it's homework, test, or wherever it may be. And as you continue to go higher in your math education, you're going to realize that there's some instances where you may not be allowed to use a calculator. And so I want to show you how to work through those type of questions without having to depend on a calculator. Okay, so this is our first question. Without using a calculator, what is 20.32 divided by 1.6? So I'll give you some time to try to answer it, and then if you're not sure what to do, just let me know, and then I'll be able to show you exactly how to go about this. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer this question together. We'll continue to wait as people join. Once they join, we'll be able to help them answer the questions that they may have. So let's go ahead and try to answer this. How would you want to go about a division of decimal? So there is a simple method that I like to use, and I've used this for so many years. It's worked for me every time. So I'm going to show you this method and show you how to apply it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to just create our division symbol. For you to be able to do this, I'm going to encourage you to learn how to do long division. You will want to learn how to divide using the long division method. It's the best method you can use going forward. I know in the earlier grades, you probably learned the Magic 7. It doesn't work when you get to higher level math, so it's always good to make sure that you understand how to use long division. And if you have any questions about how to use long division, please let me know, and I'll be happy to go over it using some other examples. So let's go ahead and try this 20.32. So 20.32, and we're dividing by 1.6. The best way to go about this is to actually make sure that in your divisor, the divisor is the number outside the division symbol. In your divisor, you want to make sure that that number is a whole number, no decimals. So we're going to move the decimal point to the end of the number. That's the first step that you want to take here. Move the decimal points to the end of the number. So we're going to move it this way, the decimal point to the end of the number. And you can see that for us to get from where it is currently, or where it was currently, to where we want it to be, which is after the number, we only moved it one position. So what we're going to do here with the number inside the decimal is also move that 1 unit in the same direction. So you can see now that we're going to have a different division question to work with, which is going to be 203.2, and then we're going to divide by 16. So now this is what we're going to try to divide. And while you're dividing, just ignore the decimal. I'll let you know what we'll do with the decimal after our division is complete. So we're going to ignore the decimal completely and just divide this number here. So we have 2032, and we're dividing by 16. So we start with 2 there. So because 2 is less than 16, let's go over to 20. How many groups of 16 in 20? We're going to have 1. 1 multiplied by 16, we have 16. Now we can subtract, and we're left with 4. Now we can bring down this 3 And now we have to find out how many groups of 16 in 43, or simply 43 divided by 16. We're going to have 2, because 2 multiplied by 16 is 32. And we're going to subtract, and we're going to end up with 11. And now we can bring down these two over here. Notice that I did not bring down the decimal with me. I don't really need to. So 112 divided by 16. So one method that some teachers actually teach is that if you have double-digit divisor, you can actually, on the side of your paper, you can just so we can write 16, the multiples of 16 for a few of them. 32 multiplied by 3 is 48. If you're familiar with other methods, you can use the other method. This is a method I see very most commonly used by teachers. So you have 64, 16 multiplied by 5, we have 80. 16 multiplied by 6, we have 96. 16 multiplied by 7, we have 112. Okay, so we're at 112 already. So that is going to be 7. 7 multiplied by 16, we have 112. So we subtract here, and we're left with 0. Now, what happens to the decimal? What we're going to do is we have to remember that for you to get this decimal here, we're moving from, we're going to go to the end of the number, and we're going to see how many hops we have to go from the end of the number to where the decimal is. I can see here that I'm only having to move 1 unit in the left direction, towards the left. So we're going to do the same in the answer, which is also known as your quotient. So we're going to go here and put the decimal right here as well. So this is going to give you 12.7. So now you have 203.2 divided by 203.2 divided by 16 is 12.7, which also means that 20.32 divided by 1.6 is also going to give you 12.7. So let me know if you have any questions about the approach here. Let me just go over it again. The first thing you're going to do is to make sure you can get the divisor to be a whole number. The divisor is the number you're dividing by, so which is 1.6. We're going to move that decimal to the right so it becomes a whole number. Now, if you have something that has 2 decimal digits, it means you're going to move it twice. So you have to make sure that the decimal moves to the end of the number. And then you take note of the number of hops or the jumps from where the decimal is to where you want it to be at the end of the number. You take note of that number. You're going to do exactly the same to the dividend. The dividend is this number, which is inside the division symbol. You're going to move the decimal point, that same number of steps, and then you're going to just perform your division. Ignore the decimal in the dividend while you're dividing, because you may have a situation where the number in the dividend, the number that is the dividend divided by the divisor could actually create its own decimal, and you want to make sure that you have a starting point from there forward. So once you finish with that, you divide, and then you take note of the number of the number of digits after the decimal, and then you also apply it to your quotient, which is this number right here on top of the division symbol. So let me know if you have any questions, and then we can move to the next question. Are there any questions? So we can move to the next question. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So this is an important topic for a lot of 6th graders and 7th graders right now. I know that at least in the Texas area, and I believe in some other states, this is the topic of focus right now. And I want to teach you the method that I find to work every time. And so we're going to look for the value of x. I'm going to give you a chance to see if you want to attempt it. We're going to look for the value of x from this equation here. go ahead and try to get the value of x here. And once you're done with that, I'll give you a few minutes to try to answer that, and then I will show you the method I have found to work every single time. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to answer this question together. So we have 6 over x equal to 5 over 4. So I'm going to show you the method which I call the cross product method. Some call it cross multiplication method. They mean exactly the same thing. And what we're simply doing with the cross multiplication method is we're going to multiply the numerator on one side by the denominator on the other side. So I like to draw my arrow facing upward. It's a lot easier for me to remember that way, but it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply that in that direction. So I'm going to multiply 6 by 4. So this is going to be 6 multiplied by 4 equal to 5 multiplied by x. And now it's going to be easy to solve for x. So now we're going to simplify this. 6 multiplied by 4 is 24. 5 multiplied by x is 5x. Now we have 5x equal to 24. We want to find the value of 1x. So we're going to simply divide by 5 on both sides. And you can say 24 over 5 equal to x. Now, if you're the person that is fraction friendly or you love fractions, you can always convert it to an improper fraction. Sorry, you convert it to a mixed number. So we have 24 divided by 5. We have 4 groups of 5 in 24. We multiply 4 by 5. We have 20, and we have a remainder of 4. So x is also going to be equal to, I say just take a trip around. We take a trip around the world right here. So it's going to be 4 from the top, 4 at the bottom, and then the denominator is 5. So x is 4 over 5. The other thing we can do, we can continue if we want to do if we want to express as a decimal, we can now put a decimal here because the number here is less than the divisor, and this decimal lets us make this 40. 40 divided by 5, we have 8. 8 multiplied by 5, we have 40. So this is also going to be 4.8. So x is 4 over 5. X is also 4.8. Any questions on this topic before we move forward? All right, let's keep going. So we have these two algebraic expressions. We want to simplify them, and this is a very important topic because it allows you to apply some of the properties of addition that you have learned. We're going to be looking here at most likely applying the distributive property of addition and multiplication. They're pretty much the same for the most part. So we're going to apply those, and we're also going to do some associativity. So there's associative property. It's not as obvious, but I know for sure that the distributive property is one that you all are going to be familiar with. So we're going to go ahead and try to simplify each of these expressions. Before we go forward, I want you to remember that an expression and an equation are different. An equation has an equal to sign, an expression does not. So that's why these are called expressions. We do not have an equal to symbol anywhere here, so we're working with expressions. So let's see how we can proceed with this. We're going to apply, I'm going to show, one of the things I like to do in math is I like to show every step that you need to follow to get to the answer. develop a good habit. I always tell my students that we need to develop good habits whenever we're learning math. Once you develop those good habits, it'll take you a long way in helping you reduce errors and also helping you not forget the topics and concepts that you have learned. So let's go ahead and answer these questions together. So when you have a number outside an expression that is outside the parentheses and you have an expression inside the parentheses, what that simply means is that you can multiply the number on the outside by every term inside the parentheses. What that means to us here is we're going to multiply 2 by x and also 2 by 3. We're going to also multiply -5. Don't forget, this is the full number here. -5 by 2x and -5 by -1. So let's start by doing that. So we have 2 multiplied by x is going to give us 2x. 2 multiplied by +3 is going to give us +6. And then we have -5 multiplied by 2x, that is -10x. And then -5 multiplied by -1 is going to give us +5. And then we're going to add 7x. So now that we've simplified, we've actually been able to get rid of our parentheses. One thing to have at the back of your mind, whenever you have multiple operations in any question, PEMDAS is what's going to be very important. There are lots of different variations of PEMDAS. You have PEDMAS, GEMDAS, GEMA, also, but they all lead you to the same place. So you can see here that PEMDAS has parentheses as the first operation. So what that simply means to us is we're going to find a way to get rid of the parentheses, and the way to do that is to distribute the number to the left of the parentheses into every term inside the parentheses like we just did. The next thing we're going to do now is we're going to group common terms together. We're going to group every term that looks the same. We're going to group them together. So we have 2x minus 10x plus 7x. Then, so we've dealt with all the x's because they all look the same, plus 6 plus 5. Don't make the mistake of thinking this negative symbol applies to the 5. It doesn't. The only number that it applies to, or the only term it applies to, is the term that happens just right after it. So now we're going to simplify this by figuring out the value of 2x minus 10x plus 7x. One of the methods I like to use whenever I'm dealing with algebra, when you have common terms, I'm just going to write the common term right here. And then I am going to try to deal with the numbers. So this is 2 minus 10. That is going to give you -8. -8 plus 7 is going to give you -1. And then 6 plus 5 is going to give you 11. So in math, we don't like writing the 1. So we can just simply say this is -x plus 11. I'm sure as a student learning this topic, your teacher will probably let you get away with -1x plus 11, but most times they don't like to say it, so just make it a habit. Whenever you don't see a number before a variable, you can safely assume that that number is 1. Okay, so let's go to the second one. The second one here, we don't have any parentheses, so we're going to most likely just start by grouping common terms together. So let's group common terms together. We have 2x minus 4x plus 6x plus 7 minus 9 plus 8. So now we have grouped all the common terms together, and now we're going to start simplifying. 2x minus 4x. So let's go ahead. Like I showed you earlier, we have all the x's. So I'm going to just put an x right here. And then so we have 2 minus 4. That's going to give you -2. -2 plus 6 is going to give you +4. Now you can see this is not 1, so we actually have to write the number down. And then 7 minus 9 is -2 plus 8. We're going to get 6. So this is 4x plus 6. So this is how you want to answer questions that look like this. Any questions? Any questions? All right, let's keep going. So I want to also let you know that in addition to what we do on Sundays, so we have this every Sunday from about 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. What the goal of this session is actually to help students button up a few topics or questions that they may have from homework as they prepare for the upcoming school week. So this we do for free, and but we have private sessions because some students don't actually like this type of sessions. They feel like it doesn't work for them. And so we have that as a private session that is a paid session for different students. And what we offer assistance with assignments. We also help reinforce topics that students are not very clear on. And also we help them get further ahead if they are already, caught up and they're doing really well and they just need some help moving a bit ahead of the class. Some parents want that, so we offer that to parents as well and to their students. And so we do that for math. We have English and language arts, and also we have sciences. And then we also offer for SAT. We have classes for SAT, ACT, PSATs, and other standardized tests like the ISEE, SSAT for students that are trying to get into private schools. So some private schools require those type of exams. So we help students prepare for them. If you would like, we offer them as one-on-one, so we can have one-on-one sessions. We also have what we call semi-private, which are just they're really small groups, no more than 3 students in that group. And then we also have small groups, which are usually about 4 to 8 students at the most. And if you're interested in any of this, let us know and contact us. You can go to our website, mathis.com. You can fill out a request there to reach out to us, or you can actually go there and fill out a student application form, and we'll be glad to get back with you as well. You can also email us at info@mathis.com and call us. Any of these numbers, you can reach us, and we'll be glad to hear from you. So that is that. And so let's keep going with our topic, our questions here. The next one we're going to have, this is Algebra 1 students are working on this right now. I know for sure quite a few students that I have are dealing with this right now. So this is a good opportunity for me to just show you guys. There are some simple tricks here. Math sometimes has tricks. There's some simple tricks here that you have to have at the back in your back pocket to be able to answer questions like this. So here it says, for the line 2x plus 3y equal to 5, what is the slope of any line that is 1 perpendicular to the line, 1 parallel to the line, 2 perpendicular to the line? So we're going to walk through that. I'm going to give you a chance to try to answer this question before I show you how to do it. So when you have questions like this, the first thing you need to remember as you walk through this, because we're looking at slope, you have to rewrite the equation here in the slope-intercept form. You have to rewrite in slope-intercept form. It's not easy, you will not be able to easily determine the slope by just looking at it this way. So you want to write it in slope-intercept form. So let's start by doing that. We're going to write this in slope-intercept form. So we have 2x plus 3y equal to 5. So I'm going to do that right here. 2x plus 3y equal to 5. We need to write this in slope-intercept form, which is written this way: y equal to mx plus b. So we're going to make sure that we isolate y. That's simply what this is. We're going to solve the equation isolating y. So let's go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. And so we have 3y equal to, because of the format of the equation, I'm going to bring the 2x first, negative 2x plus 5. And now we are going to divide by 3 because we need to isolate y. So let's go ahead and divide every term by 3. So y is equal to negative 2 over 3x plus 5. So that really is the equation that we are going to be working with to identify the slope of a line that is parallel to this given line and the slope of the line that is perpendicular to the given line. So for two lines to be parallel, the slopes must be the same. The slope of two lines that are parallel must be the same. And here, when we have our equation in this form, y equal to mx plus b, this number here, the coefficient of x, is actually your slope. So this is going to give us the slope of the line parallel to 2x plus 3y equal to 5 is going to be, slope here is going to be the same as the slope of the line, which is negative 2 over 3. Now, when we talk about the slope of the line that is perpendicular to this line that has been given to us, we have to remember that when they're perpendicular, when two lines are perpendicular, it means that when they intersect, they form, if I could straighten it out, when they intersect, they form a right angle. That is what it means to be perpendicular. So for that to happen, for two lines to be perpendicular to each other, their slopes have to be negative inverses of each other. So let's look at what that means. So our original slope here is negative 2 over 3. So we're going to first invert the number, which is going to make it 3 over 2. And now we have to see, because it's a negative, if it's a negative number here, this is going to be positive. That's what we mean by negative inverses of each other. So let's run through those again. Whenever you have a question like this, the first thing you want to do is to write the equation in the slope-intercept form, which is y equal to mx plus b. Once you're done with that, you will get the slope. The slope is going to be the coefficient of x, which is this number right to the left-hand side of x. And so for lines to be parallel, they have the same slope. So you're going to use exactly the same slope that you got from this as the slope of the parallel line. But for lines to be perpendicular, their slopes are going to be negative inverses of each other. So what does that mean? You will first invert the number. When we say invert the number, it means just switch the numbers in the numerator and denominator. And then if it's negative, it becomes positive. If it's positive, it becomes negative. That's what we mean by negative inverses of each other. We're going to some fraction. Fractions are always important. Very important. I've seen fractions trip students up from elementary school all the way to college, and even sometimes adults that are maybe not in school, but they need fractions to be able to explain things, or to be, you can apply fractions in so many areas of life. Whether you're a seamstress or even if you're working in your garden. I have some friends that they work in the garden, and they do a lot of that stuff. And sometimes they need understanding of fractions to be able to build a nice flower bed and all of that good stuff. So let's talk about fractions for some time, and then I'll introduce you to something that we've been working on for some time based on a lot of the work that we've been doing and a lot of the students that we've been working with for the last 2 decades. And we've just put a lot of what we've learned and the tips and the strategies that have helped them. We've put that together in something that I'll be sharing with you in a second. So for us to divide fractions, the first thing you're going to do whenever you're dividing fractions is to make sure that if you have mixed numbers, and simply a mixed number is if it's a number combined with a proper fraction. A proper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is less than the denominator. So we're going to always convert mixed numbers to improper fractions before we can divide them. We're going to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. Let us go ahead and get started with that. So 4/5/6 or 4/5/6 is going to look like this. We're going to multiply 4 by 6, which is going to give us, so let's write it, 4 multiplied by 6 plus 5 divided by 6. We're going to obey PEMDAS. PEMDAS says multiplication comes first. So we're going to multiply 4 by 6, 24 plus 5, 29/6. And then 1/7/12 is going to be 1 multiplied by 12 plus 7/12. So this is going to give us 12 plus 7, 19/12. So now we're going to go ahead and replace these mixed numbers with their corresponding improper fractions. So we have 29/6 divided by 19/12. But we can't really work with it this way. So what do we need to do? We're going to find a way to convert this to a multiplication. So this is 29/6. And now once you convert this to a multiplication, here's what you need to remember. These numbers switch positions. They completely switch positions. So this is going to be 12/19. So now we're going to solve this. You have two methods that you can actually apply. You can find common factors and just divide across. So let me show you what that means. So this is going to be 29 multiplied by 12 divided by 6 multiplied by 19. I don't know about you, but I don't like to always deal with large numbers. 6/19 is going to be a 3-digit number. I don't want to deal with that every time. So what I can do here is actually try to see if I can simplify a number in the numerator against a number in the denominator. 29 and 19 are prime numbers, so you can't really do anything with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on 6 and 12. Because I know they're both even numbers, I could at least divide by 2. But, I mean, once you understand your multiplication, you can see that you can divide 6 by itself by 6, gives you 1. You can divide 12 by 6 and you're going to get 2. So now we can multiply 29 by 2 divided by 1 multiplied by 19. So you're going to get 58/19. And because we got our question in mixed numbers, we definitely should go ahead and convert this back to a mixed number. So let's go ahead and do that. So 58/19 is simply the same as 58 divided by 19. So let's say how many groups of 19 do we have in 58? I'm just going to do something quick here. 19 multiplied by 1 is 19. 19 multiplied by 2 is 38. 19 multiplied by 3 is 57. It's close to 58, so I'm just going to use 3. 3 multiplied by 19, we have 57, actually, not 19. We have 57. And then we subtract. We get a remainder of 1. And we're going to make our trip again. So this is going to give us 3 whole number, which is your quotient. Your remainder is 1, and then your divisor is 19. So this is going to be the answer to that question. So this is what you want to do. Whenever you have multiplication or division of fractions, and the fractions are mixed numbers, you always have to convert those mixed numbers back to improper fractions. Let's do the same here, but when you're multiplying, you don't have to do that. I mean, when you're multiplying, you have to do exactly the same thing. It's only that when you multiply, you don't have to switch, you don't have to flip any of the fractions. So 3/7/9, let's go ahead and simplify that. 3 multiplied by 9 plus 7, this divided by 9. This is going to give you 3 multiplied by 9 is 27 plus 7. We have 34/9. And then we have 2/1/4 is going to give us 2 multiplied by 4 plus 1/4, which is 9/4. So now we're going to rewrite these mixed numbers, this question here, using their improper fractions. So we have 34 over 9 multiplied by 9 over 4. 34 over 9 multiplied by 9 over 4. Like I showed you earlier, you don't have to deal with large numbers in your denominator if you don't want to. So this is going to be 34 multiplied by 9 divided by 9 multiplied by 4. So what I'm going to do here is look for common terms or numbers with common factors in the numerator and the denominator. I will look at this as our numerator and this as our denominator. So let's go ahead. We have 9 here, so we can just simply cancel them out because 9 divided by 9 is going to be 1. Now we have 34 divided by 4. They're both even numbers, so we can safely say that you can divide them by 2. So let's divide 4 by 2, we get 2. 34 by 2, we get 17. So this is 17 over 2. The mere fact that 17 is an odd number just tells us we're going to have a remainder. So let's go ahead and divide 17 by 2. We have 8. 8 multiplied by 2, we have 16. Subtract 1, so this is going to be 8, 1 over 2. Whole number, which is your quotient. Your 1 is your remainder, and your 2 is your divisor. So it's 8, 1 over 2, or 8 and 1/2. Okay, that's that on fractions. So I said earlier that we have put some work into fractions, knowing that lots of students struggle with fractions. I can't think of any student I've had to work with that has not struggled with fractions, regardless of whether they're, in high school, elementary, college, or even those that are trying to return to school after being away, maybe for a professional exam, and they have to make sure that they can pass an entrance exam. Fractions have always been a thing that really bug them and really frustrate them. So what we've done is we've put about 20 years of helping students overcome fraction difficulties. We've put it together in this workbook, and this workbook will help any student. Doesn't matter how good you are in math. It's going to work you from what it means, what fractions mean, how to identify fractions, all the way to working through complex fraction problems. So this workbook will do all that for you. And one of the structure of the workbook is such that we have an introduction to the topic. We show you the steps that you should follow consistently to answer this type of questions properly. We also walk through an example following those steps. Then right after that, we give you some questions with the steps there so you can actually follow them on your own and try to develop your own habits with these steps. And then finally, we have some other questions that do not have steps, with the assumption that you would actually follow those steps, because we believe that you get better in math by continuous repetition. So this book is available on Amazon. If you go on Amazon right now, it's available, and it's available on every Amazon market, whether you're in the UK, you're in Japan. This workbook is available to you, and so I encourage you to use it. A lot of what I've shown you today, you will see in the workbook, all the tips, all the techniques that have never failed. I can confidently say that every student that has followed the techniques I have put in this workbook has never failed in their understanding of fractions. So we look forward to you getting the book and giving us some feedback. We actually have good reviews on Amazon already from those that have tried to use it, and maybe next time we'll share some of those reviews with you. All right. So how are we all doing? Are everyone doing well? Those that are joining, thank you for joining us. Please hit the subscribe link, like the video. Let us know if there's any way we can better serve you. We want to make sure we're serving your needs. We just don't want to just talk about math. We want to make sure we can reach you and help you with with the topics that are really, really of utmost interest and importance to your success in your education. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we have a goal to help 5,000 students improve their math by the end of this school year. And so we want to see 5,000 students. If you are a C student, we want to see how we can get you to a B or an A. If you're a student that is at a B, we want to make sure that you stay consistently at an A. So those are the things that are driving us. That's why we're offering these free sessions, as well as we have free sessions every day, actually, Monday through Thursday as well. And those happen about 3:30 to 5 thereabout, Monday through Thursday. So take advantage of that. If you want more information on those free sessions, they're going to be on Zoom, so you can go to our website and drop us a note, let us know, have your contact information, because we're trying to do that because we want to make sure that only students or only people that are going to allow the students have a safe learning environment will be invited to our Zoom sessions. We want to always protect our children. So let's go ahead and answer these questions. We have a few more questions that we'll answer before our session is over today. If y is directly proportional to x and y equal to 12 when x equal to 7, what is the value of y when x is equal to 17? So we're looking here at direct proportion. What is the value of y when x is equal to 17? So here we're looking at some direct proportion. So let me give you a few moments to try to answer this question, and then we will walk through it together. All right, let's go ahead and try to answer this. I'll show you the method that I like to use, and if you have a different method, I'd like to learn from you as well. There are lots of different ways you can approach this, but this is the method I like to use. Whenever you see a direct proportion, we actually have to write it. Y is directly proportional to x. That's just what this statement states. This is what this statement reads. Y is directly proportional to x. So that means that y is equal to kx, and k here is considered the constant of proportionality, or the proportion constant. Depends on, lots of different people call it different things. But if you look at it, it's going to test your understanding of slope. So your direct proportion can be seen as a line without an intercept, with 0 as your y-intercept. So y equal to kx. So what we're going to do now with this information is we're going to plug in the values that we're given. So we know that y is equal to 12 when x is equal to 7. So that's what this is. And all of that information is for us to be able to create our equation. So now we know that 12 is equal to 7k, so we're going to divide both sides by 7, and then 12 over 7 is equal to k. So now we have our equation. Our equation is y is equal to 12 over 7x, because y is equal to kx. K is 12 over 7. You can see here also that k becomes your slope. So y is equal to, let me show you this right here. Y equal to mx plus b. Here your b is equal to 0. So y equal to mx. That's what we're doing here. And we want to find out the value of y when x is 17. So we're just going to do this. Y equal to 12 over 7 multiplied by 17. And that's what you really need to do to get the value of y when x is 17. So let's see, can there are no common factors on the numerator and denominator, so let's go ahead and just multiply. 12 multiplied by 17, that should give you 204. We divide that by 7. So let's go ahead and try to create our mixed number here. You can leave it this way, depends on if it's a multiple choice question, you may see your answer written in different forms. It could be decimal, it could be improper fraction or mixed fraction. Just make sure that if it's multiple choice, you're paying attention to the way the answer is written, so you don't do more than you're expected to do. But if it's free response, you can just do it. You can leave it in whatever form you want. And I prefer to leave it. I like to leave it this way, but I know for some of you, your teachers are probably going to require that you write it as a mixed number. So I'm going to go the extra step to do that. So 204 divided by 7. How many groups of 7 in 20? We should have 2. 2 multiplied by 7, we have 14. And then we subtract and you have 6. One way to actually know if you have the right quotient, the right number in the quotient, if you subtract the number here by this number, the remainder here must always be less than your divisor. That's how you know you have done a good job. If it's greater than your divisor, it means that you need to increase the quotient by 1. So that's something, well, it depends on how much greater. So, but just make sure that whenever you select a number for your quotient and you multiply by your divisor, and then you subtract from the number in the under the division symbol, you have to make sure that this number here, which is your remainder, is less than your divisor. Just take note of that. This can trip a lot of students up. So we go down here, bring 4. So 64 divided by 7, we can also see how many groups of 7 are there in 64. You're going to find that there are 9. 9 multiplied by 7 is 63. We subtract and we have a remainder of 1. So this is going to be, like I say, you can make a trip around. So it's going to be 29 is our quotient. We have a remainder of 1 and our divisor is 7. So that is how you would rewrite that. You would rewrite this improper fraction as a mixed number. So 204 divided by 7 is the same as 29 1 over 7. Let me know if there are any questions. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to share your questions with me so that I can accommodate your questions in whatever we've planned to work on. I'm actually more interested in answering the questions that are of high importance to you and to your learning and maybe to your math tests. We want to make sure that you're doing well in your math classes, and a lot of times you can see math affecting you in subjects like physics, chemistry, even some biology. So math we see as a very important foundation for you to have to be able to do well in all your other classes. Okay, so we have another proportion. We have another proportion question here. 2x minus 6 divided by x equal to 4 over 5. 2x minus 6 divided by x equal to 4 over 5. Two x minus 6 over x equal to 4 over 5. All right, so when you have a question like this, this is actually a proportion question of some sort. What I like to do, which I showed you earlier, is I like to do the cross product method. What typically happens in this topic is when students are learning this topic, they often start with questions like this. 3 over 5 equal to x over 20. So you can see that you can make a clear association, or you can create some kind of a factor or multiple of 5 that gets you to 20, which is 4. And so most students are taught to just do this, so multiply by 4 and then multiply by 4. Yeah, this is okay when you are most likely in 6th grade or just getting introduced to the concept of proportions. But as you get higher in your math education, that may not always work. For example, can you find a way to create that relationship here? Not necessarily, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a cross product, also known as cross multiplying. So I'm going to cross multiply this way and that way. So cross multiplication simply means the numerator on one side, on the left side, must be multiplied by the denominator on the right hand side, and the numerator on the right hand side must be multiplied by the denominator on the left hand side. So that's simply what all of that is about. And so let's go ahead and walk through it. So we have 5 multiplied by 2x minus 6 equal to 4 multiplied by x. So now we're going to distribute PEMDAS. Remember PEMDAS? Whenever you have parentheses, you want to address that first. So we have 10x, we're multiplying 5 by 2x and 5 by negative 6 minus 30 equal to 4x. So now we're going to go ahead and we want to isolate x, we want to isolate 4x. So we're going to isolate the variable x. So we're going to first start by subtracting 10x from both sides. So now we have negative 30 equal to 4x minus 10x. And what I showed you earlier is whenever you have variables, x and x, I'm just going to put an x right here, and then I'll focus on 4 and negative 10. So 4 minus 10 is negative 6. And now we can simplify this by dividing by negative 6 and divide here also by negative 6. So x is equal to 5. X is equal to 5. Okay, are there any questions on this topic? If there are no questions, we'll get to our last question for the day. Our last question for the day is the cell shown below, or to the right hand side, it's below anyway. The cell shown below has a horizontal stripe parallel to the base of the cell. What is the distance x from the bottom of the cell to the stripe? So this is a topic that is very common for 7th graders right now, and also in geometry. So you want to make sure that you understand similar triangles. So you're going to be able to identify what the similar triangles are, and then we're going to create relationships between those similar triangles. Now let's go through a few things about similar triangles or any similar figures. One, the angles are congruent. Congruent means they have the same value. So the angles are congruent. The shapes look the same. So that's a key. You have to make sure that the shapes look the same for you to be able to do any kind of ratio or proportion with those shapes. So let's look at, let me write them down. These are very important. So we have congruent angles. We have same shape. One thing that confuses a lot of students with similar triangles is the sides are not necessarily congruent. The sides don't have to be congruent. They don't have to be the same size for the sides, but the angles have to be the same size. The reason why is because when the angles are the same size, you're going to have the same type of shape. If the angles are different, then you have two completely different shapes. So the other thing is that the sides have a proportional relationship. Sides are proportional. This is one of what I've just showed you here. These three properties are often used in multiple choice questions about similar triangles. They may give you a question saying something like, which of these properties is not true of similar triangles or of similar figures or similar shapes? You have to be able to identify the differences. So now we're going to look at creating our proportional similar figures. So here are the similar figures. We need to look, similar figures have the same shape. So we have to look, they are the same type of shape. So we're going to look at creating those shapes. So I'm going to draw one that looks like this. Okay, let's do that. All right, that's a right triangle here. So this is going to be 4.8. This is going to be 10. And then we have a larger triangle also. The triangle is going to look like that. And this is going to come all the way down here. And we have a right angle as well here. This is 12. Now we need to worry about this right here. This is actually 10 here plus x. So this is 10 plus x. Now we're going to create a relationship between these two triangles. When I create relationships between triangles, I like to always make sure that I'm consistent. One, I have to make sure I'm consistent. I can either decide that I'm going with the larger triangle over the smaller triangle or the smaller triangle over the larger triangle and be consistent about that. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pick smaller over larger. Doesn't matter how you go. Let's go with smaller over larger. And then I'm going to start with the sides whose lengths are known or dimensions are known. So I'm going to go with this leg here, the bottom one. So 4.8 is this smaller divided by 12. And then we need to go with 10. Is this from the smaller divided by 10 plus x. So now that we have this, we can easily do a cross multiplication. We can do a simple cross multiplication here. The other thing you can do with this is, if you can simplify 4.8 divided by 12, you can do that as well. So I can actually make this, 48 over 120. We can do that just to get rid of the decimal here, equal to 10 divided by 10 plus x. So let's go ahead and simplify 48 divided by 120. 48 divided by 120. I'm not going to use a decimal here. Decimals can confuse you in this case. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide by 12 here. This is going to give me 4 over 10 divided by 12. We can also divide by 2 here. This is going to give me 2 over 5. So I can rewrite this as 2 over 5 is equal to 10 over 10 plus x. And now we can do our cross multiplication. A lot easier to work with this way. So we have 2 multiplied by 10 plus x equal to 5 multiplied by 10. So this is simply means we have to distribute this number into all the terms. 20 plus 2x equal to 50. So we subtract 20 from both sides. And we have 2x equal to 30. Divide both sides by 2. And then x is equal to 15. So what is the distance x from the bottom of the sail to the stripe? So from here to here is 15 feet. So that's simply all you have to do whenever you're dealing with similar triangles. So one of the things we're going to start doing with our Sunday sessions is we're going to start having, giving you the ability to send questions our way. On our YouTube channel, we have a community page on our YouTube channel. So we're going to start posting those ahead of time so that you can actually go ahead and send us questions. Because like I said, what we want to do is make sure that when we come here on Sunday, we're helping you answer questions that will help you have an easier week in your math. If there are maybe homework assignments that maybe you got stuck on one question specifically and you're not quite sure how, you got stuck and you need help to get over the hump with those questions, send them our way. We'll actually walk through those type of questions and explain. We just don't want to give you the answer. We want you to understand why the answer is the answer. So we're going to explain to you how to get to the answer. And maybe if it's a topic that we know that a lot of students can benefit from as well, we may add one or two more examples just so we can see different ways that question or those questions can be asked. And so we're going to be doing that starting from, so we'll try to make sure we have those ready before before the end of the week, so that you can at least have those questions sent to us. It's going to be a Google form, so you can send those to us. And the great thing about using the reason why we chose a Google form is if you have pictures, you can actually send them to us, so we can use those pictures to help assist you. And also don't forget, if you need help during the week and you don't you want to attend one of our free sessions, feel free to join, but you have to let us know so that we can send you the Zoom information and your email so that you can join. We don't want just everyone joining the Zoom session, because a lot of times we have younger children and we want to make sure that they're safe and they're protected while they're in the Zoom sessions. Also, if you have need for private sessions, you can also reach us with the information on that. We can set up some private sessions for you. Those are going to be paid sessions. So feel free to reach out to us on that. Go to our website, mathease.com, matheaze.com. Fill out the student form or fill out the contact form. We'll be able to get back to you. And if you're a student getting ready for the SAT, the ACT, and you need to join any of our sessions, feel free to reach out to us. We help students prepare for the SAT, the ACT, the PSATs. And also, if you're trying to get into private schools, there's the ISEE, SSAT, HSPT, lots of different exams, but we understand how all of those exams work, so we can help you get into the school of your dreams. So we look forward to spending some more time with you again. And don't forget, our fraction book is available. It's available on Amazon.com, actually it's available on Amazon, whether it's .com, .ca, and all the other Amazon markets that are out there. Our books are available right now, and it's a workbook for you. We actually had a review on Amazon. It was from a grandparent telling us that he wishes that when he was a student, he had a book that was this clear in explaining how fractions work. So now he's actually getting back into fractions and is enjoying working with fractions for the first time. So that was just very humbling to hear from one of our current buyers of the book. So we look forward to you getting the book. Our goal here is to make sure that math is simple to understand. We don't think it's that big of a deal. I know a lot of students are scared of it. It's not that big of a deal, and we want to show you all the different techniques, the methods that you can just have in your back pocket to make math simple to understand. One less subject that you have to worry about and have sleepless nights over. So that's really our goal, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week. Sunday. It's going to be 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're in the East Coast, that's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join us. And before Sunday, if you have questions that you would like for us to focus on, send them. We're going to be posting that on our YouTube channel. You have to go to the community page, and we'll start posting that on our Facebook as well, and most likely Instagram, so you can see, you can be notified, or you can remember when this information is available. Also, if you've not subscribed to our channel, please give us a like and subscribe, so that when we schedule our sessions, you can know ahead of time. We try to schedule the sessions at least about 24 hours ahead of time, so that you can at least have time to get yourself prepared to attend the session, and maybe another opportunity for you to remember that you should send your questions in. So we look forward to hanging out with you again next week. I've really enjoyed today's session, and I hope you have. So have a wonderful evening, and wish you the best in your school week. You all be blessed and enjoy God's peace. Bye for now.